All right, we have another unboxing right now. This is actually for the Denon AVR receiver. Um, this is actually a pretty good, Denon is a well-known receiver, and I think this is a great receiver, especially for the value. This currently is going for $3.99 at Costco, and you can't beat that price. I actually have some tower speakers that I'm looking to power, and I think these speakers are just going to do the job. So it's a pretty big box. It's pretty much covering my entire view right there. So let's get the handy dandy knife and unbox this bad boy. All right, and just to give a little bit of background, the model is the AVR S760H, and it's a 7.2 channel, 8K Ultra HD, 75 watts per channel AV receiver. All right, let's see what we got here. All right, let's see. It's gonna be a little tough. All right, just brought the camera a little forward so you can get a better look. Again, we have the antenna here. I don't know why they still include this with receivers. I'm not too sure who listens to the radio anymore, other than streaming it, of course. But I do appreciate. I also noticed that they included some stickers in here as well. So you can see they have some stickers here that indicate the different channels. You have front. Let's see. You have surround, so you can basically use these to tag your different cables, or I guess the different inputs in the back. But it's pretty neat that they actually included the stickers in here. They have the instruction manual, of course. It's in there. So I'll just move this to the side. All right. Next in line, this looks like, I believe this is for the calibration mic. So it's like a little spaceship, basically. You can see right there in the back. You can use this. It's like a makeshift tripod, basically. So if you don't have a tripod, you can actually use this paper tripod to put together, as you can see right there. And then put the Odyssey mic on top of it. Again, the Odyssey mic is what you're going to use to calibrate your room. So that way it automatically picks the settings for you based on the calibration that you conduct. So everything is automatic, so you don't have to manually go in and mess around with the settings. It's pretty nice. Pioneer also has a similar tool, but I don't believe they use Odyssey. And it's right here, actually. So let me move this out of the way. So the Odyssey mic right here, it's right there. So you can see they do instruct you to use some tripods for best results. So if you do have your own tripod, you can use that. If not, then obviously you can use the paper tripod that they include within the package. So the microphone is in here. So let's just unbox that so we can take a look. All right, so looks a little different. Okay. Yep, so this is what the Odyssey mic looks like. They give you a pretty long cable. I don't know how long this cable is. I don't know if it says it in the box. But yeah, so they give you a pretty long cable. So let's say your receiver is in a different room. Maybe this is in a home theater that you have. You can pretty much have this cable go all the way out to your AV rack, which may not be in the same room as where you have maybe your TV screen or your projector. So again, I'm not too sure how long the cable is, but they do include the microphone here. And you can see right there, this is the mic. So you just put this on top, and you can see the little mic is actually at the top right there. So it's a little hard to see. So yeah, you just set this where you think you're going to have the primary listening position. Now, I don't know if this version of Odyssey lets you do multi-position calibration. I've seen some versions of the calibration tool where you can pretty much move this around different points of the room, and you can get different calibration points. But we'll definitely give that a try when we get to setting this up in a later video. All right, and right here you have the connector right here, and this just plugs into the receiver, and then you just go through the menu. All right, we'll just put this back so I don't lose it. All right, and right here we do have the remote. I'm not really a great fan of their remotes. I mean, again, I highly doubt that you're going to be using this remote anyways. I do have my own universal remote. Well, I think, Logitech stopped making it anyways, but it's the Logitech Harmony remote. I prefer that over any of these remotes, but it does get the job done. You can see the size next to my hand, so you can see the remote here. Move that to the side. Oh, nice. They do include some batteries. I don't know how long these will last. They're not Duracell, so but they are nice enough to include some batteries for the remote control. All right, let's take the styrofoam out so we can get to the main part of this unboxing, the brains, the receiver, the AV receiver here. So we have 4 foams surrounding the receiver here. I'm just gonna get this out and move this to the side. All right, so here we are. We got the receiver here. I'm just going to unwrap this plastic here. Nice. It's not too heavy, but you know, it's the size of a regular receiver. I wish I had my tape measure with me so I can give a proper dimensions, but you can probably find this on the site, how the dimensions are. So all right, so I've just moved it around so you can have a better view here. So you can see the front here. We have looks like this is the source select right here. And you can see the different features that it has. Like I mentioned earlier, it's a 7.2 channel receiver. It is supportive of Dolby Atmos, DTS-X. So this is pretty nice, and we'll see it when we get to the back where you would plug in like your Atmos speakers in the ceiling, or if you do have up-firing speakers, we'll talk about that as well. It has 6 inputs for HDMI, and I do believe some of them are 2.1, and then there's obviously one out, and it does support eARC, so you can control multiple devices. It is 8K video. It does support 8K video, 4K at 120 hertz. It does support HDR10. This is the part that I really like, and I'm not sure if it's visible enough. You can see it does support high-res audio. So this is pretty neat. You can see right here you have a USB port. So what you can actually do is, if you're into any sort of lossless audio, high fidelity music, whether it's using like a FLAC format. I do have some audio that I like to listen to, which is high-res audio. So this AV receiver does support that, which I do appreciate. And all you have to do is, so we might be able to use, for example, like the Apple TV to stream lossless audio. I'm not too sure about that. The way I've done it in the past with other receivers is simply loading my audio tracks, which are in FLAC format, so which is probably lossless. So that pretty much means the music is little to none compressed. So usually, MP3 has a lot of compression made, so you do lose some of those details that you would hear if you were listening to the audio files uncompressed. So I do love music that comes in lossless audio format. So you do have the ability to, so this has the ability to play those those files, which I do like. And one of the reasons why I decided to get this, because one of the things I like to do is listen to music. So it does have Bluetooth. It does support Apple AirPlay 2. Obviously, it has Pandora. I don't know who still uses that anymore. We have Spotify, and I do believe it supports Spotify as well, but I don't see it listed on here. It does support Amazon Music. Tidal is interesting because I think they're one of the few streaming services that do offer lossless audio. So, if anybody's into, high fidelity music or high res audio, music tracks, you can subscribe to Tidal. I'm pretty sure it's a bit pricey, so that is one option that's on there. I think they're one in a few services that do provide that. You do have a phono input, so if you have a turntable, you can also plug that in the back, and I'll show you where to do that. Auto calibration right here. This just is talking about how you can use Odyssey, which is the little mic that I showed earlier, to calibrate your room so that you have the optimum sound custom to the environment where you have, your speakers in. So, your room layout, how tall your ceilings are. So it takes all of that into consideration and does calculation to configure the different settings on its own, so you don't have to go in and try to figure out, how strong does the levels have to be and all that. So that takes the work off of your plate when you use the Odyssey microphone to do the calibration. Setup assistant. I'm not too sure about this one, but we can definitely go through it when we get to it at a later video. And you can see they've been around since 1910, it looks like. So I do have a pair of Definitive Technology speakers that I really love. Really pristine audio, and I believe they're owned by the same company, Denon Definitive Technology, and I want to say Marantz is also owned by the same company. So this is really going to go nicely with the Definitive Technology. I actually have the BP 9020 towers, which are the smallest powered sub towers that they have. I think this particular receiver is going to go well with it. And again, one of the reasons why I got this is, the features, you can't beat that for, $300+. And they're usually on sale. So if you check now, it's probably going to be on sale for quite some time. So you can't really beat this deal. And again, it might not be, one of the best receivers that are out there, but I think it's pretty packed as far as features go. Like I mentioned earlier, it has Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, so I do like that. So if we move down here, we can see the different input selectors right here. You do have cable, satellite, Blu-ray, game, and HEOS music, which I believe is basically their version of wireless audio. So you can have other devices that support HEOS, which I think is owned by Denon. So if you have other speakers that do support that, I'm assuming you can do multi-zone streaming, so you can play music in different rooms, kind of like what Sonos does. But this is a HEOS, Denon specific feature. I'm not too sure how good it is when compared to Sonos. I know Sonos has been around for quite some time and they've made a mark for themselves. They're pretty reliable. Looking here, this is the volume knob, of course. But looking down here, it does mention HEOS. It looks like it has Google Assistant built in, so I definitely want to test that out, how that works. So it also works with Alexa, apparently. Here we have other input. Oh, this is actually the sound mode that you can select. You can do movie mode, music, game, pure. I typically use pure in all of the receivers that I've had, especially I think, especially when I'm listening to high-res audio, I don't want any sort of processing being done on the audio that I'm listening to, so I prefer to listen to it using pure mode. So I'm not sure if I know in Pioneer it's called Direct and Pure Direct, so it might be the same thing in Denon as well. So you have two different options, and that just means it's just going to send the signal straight out to your speakers, I believe, from. And anybody out there who is an audiophile, please correct me if I'm wrong. But it does send out the signals without doing any sort of processing or anything like that. So straight out. So I do like that when I listen to high-res audio. For movies, I don't know if that's an option that you want to use. I've used it. I haven't had any issues with it. I think it sounds fantastic, especially with the definitive technology towers. I think it sounds phenomenal. So here, let's see, we have the status. Again, I don't have it plugged in, so it's kind of hard to see what each one of these buttons do, but you can see zone 2 on or off. This pretty much means, I believe, for one of the rear surround or one of the or the last 2 channels, you can actually set them to a different zone if you're not using them. So if you don't have a 7.1.2 setup, you can actually use those 2 extra channels as a separate zone. So, you know, if you have some speakers in your kitchen, let's say, you can configure it to where you can plug in those speakers into zone 2, and then you can play different audio in different rooms. So in your living room or family room, you can be watching movies or listening to music, and then in your kitchen, you can be listening to something else. That's what zone 2 does right here. Let's see what we have. The tune button, I believe this is for the radio, band, same thing, I don't know again. Who still uses that? Dimmer button, I guess, to dim the screen. Maybe in a home theater application, you may want to dim it. I don't know if it can get annoying if you have the receiver sitting in front of you under your screen or something. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the front. And of course, we have the power button right here. That's pretty much it. And we do have the looks like the phono input. No, this is actually for headphones. I'm sorry. This is actually for headphones. So if you have one of those headphones, kind of like this actually. So this is actually made by Sennheiser. So you can plug in those 1/4-inch headphones in here and listen to it that way. I'm not sure if it provides any sort of power to the headphones. But I think it does, since it has an amp built in. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the front. And then we'll just move on to the back. All right. And there are a lot of inputs. All right, so let's see here. Visible it is right here. Make sure that you can see. All right, we'll just start off at this corner and work our way down here. So you have the different inputs here for speakers. You have the front for your front speakers. You have front right, front left, so your right and left speakers. And these do support, it looks like they support banana plugs, so that'll be pretty awesome. You don't have to, you know, kind of screw these out and put the wire in and clamp it in. So if you have banana plugs, you can just plug it in, which makes it a lot easier, especially if you do swapping or anything like that. Just yank it out, put it back in. So you have the front right, front left. You do have your center channel right here, and then you have your surrounds. Right and left right here. And these right here are for your surround back. So you can use this input for if you have Atmos speakers, if you have speakers in the ceiling, or if you have up-firing speakers like the definitive technology towers that I own. They actually have an added module that you can put at the top, which allows you to have up-firing speakers. So, and you know, depending on your room situation, you know, if you have really high ceilings or have, you know, sloped ceilings, you know, that are not flat, the up-firing speakers may not be for you. I don't know how well they're gonna do. They do a good job, but for regular 8-foot ceilings. So, you know, at that point, if you have sloped or, you know, any sort of vaulted ceilings, then I would recommend just simply putting, and you do want that Atmos experience, I would recommend putting in-ceiling speakers at that point. So yeah, this is where they go. All right, for HDMI, you can see that here. You do have your HDMI inputs right here. This does support HDCP 2.3. You have a total of 6 inputs. These are the first what? Let me see. The first 4 are pre-labeled. So you have cable, satellite, media player, Blu-ray, game. I'm pretty sure you can go in and change those as well. So that's what it would display on the screen when you change inputs. And then you have auxiliary 5 and 6. And this is actually what goes out to your screen. So if you're using projectors or if you're using a TV, this is what actually goes out. And it does support, let's see, eARC. So, ARC. So let's see what else we got here. We have the antennas right here. I want to say, yeah, this is for like the Wi-Fi or Bluetooth. So that's what this is for. And then you have some other inputs. Oh, you can put the antenna that we looked at earlier here. I believe this is, I don't think this is for cable. I'm not even sure what this is for. And then you can also plug in, if you have some devices that have RCA inputs, you can put those in here as well. Same thing here. I don't know who still uses these anymore. I think, you know, if worst case, you're probably using optical audio. But I think a lot of things are either wireless or you're going to be, you know, streaming them using Apple TV or something like that. It does support an Ethernet port. So, you know, if you do live in a house where you have access to being able to plug this in, you know, wired in, I don't see why not. I think wired in is more reliable. So if that option is there, I would use this rather than trying to use Wi-Fi. So, but, you know, nevertheless, it still supports Wi-Fi. Let's see what else we got. You know, we have 2 antennas. Yeah, and that's pretty much it as far as, you know, the main inputs go. So you have a lot of inputs. I don't think you're going to run out of those. I did see some reviews online that, you know, this receiver goes really well with some of the latest gen you know, video game consoles like the PS5. Assuming there's probably very little lag. And, you know, this does support 8K, like I mentioned earlier. But yeah, you have 2 optical inputs here. You know, if that's something that you want to use. Let's say, you know, this can be quite useful if you have an older television that does not have ARC, that does not support ARC. You may have to use, you know, the optical, input, and this does not do surround sound. So, you know, it's there. So, yeah, so that's pretty much it. I'll just spin this around. Of course, you have the power cord. You cannot remove this. It's obviously at this price point, you know, you're not going to be able to remove the power cord. Yeah, so that's pretty much it as far as the receiver goes. I'm looking forward to plugging this bad boy in and hearing how it sounds.